Last year was kind of my final year racing triathlon after almost 15 years of that. And I actually signed up for Javelina laying on the beach in Kona, I think about 10 days out. So I've been wanting to check out the trail scene forever, and Javelina was the perfect opportunity. And I honestly could not have, I don't think, chosen a better first trail run. I absolutely loved it last year. It was so fun. It's such a party in the desert, like everyone had been telling me, and I was just so glad that, I came out for it. Fast forward to now, I am honestly coming into next weekend trying to figure out if going into a 100-miler with complete ignorance was better versus now knowing what's ahead, but both Unbound and Western States, those were big disappointments this year, and I had put this pressure on myself for those two. I was targeting those two. Had a tough day at Western States this year. Certainly not how I envisioned it going. I had to drop about halfway through, and I certainly walked away from both Unbound and Western States with lessons in racing that I now have that I'm bringing with me into Javelina. Literally from the second my wristband was cut off, I was just like, how can I get back there? So that's the ultimate goal of, I want to make it to that track in Auburn. Recovery from Western States was I would say a pretty tough time for me, just personally, both physically and mentally. For me, it was more that frustration on top of just disappointment and sadness. Getting back up to then start another training block to keep the season going. That was mentally a bit of a struggle for a few weeks there, just to really get back into finding something that I could put the same level of focus and dedication and be as motivated to go after and train day in and day out as hard as I did for Western States for a new goal. I didn't run for 3 weeks, and I was literally just doing PT 3 times a day, and so kind of built from there. It was pretty slow, like 1 mile here, 1 mile there. Then he gave me 30 minutes 4 times a week that I was allowed to do, and I kind of built back from there. So it took about 5 or 6 weeks building back to actually starting, I guess, a training load again. I was cautious on the bike for about 2 weeks, and then I started building that volume back up because I did have 5 or 6 gravel events left, which first of those up was Leadville mountain bike. We drove the van out 2 weeks early. Devon she saw that we were out in Leadville and was like, let's get together and run. I would love to show you the trails out here.
I've been in the sport for a really long time, and she has so much potential, and I was like, how can I help? And part of it was we talked a lot about things that are second nature to me, like how to do certain things and how you think about things and how you run on certain terrain. This is how you improve this skill set.
We put in 2 or 3 pretty epic days, which was really cool. It was one of those runs we were out there, and I asked her, and I was like, are you gonna do Javelina again too? And she's like, I have some other goals this year, but if you're planning on it, I can totally help pace you or crew. Or she kind of threw that out there, and I was like, oh, that'd be sick. I don't think there's a better person to learn from for pacing than a previous winner. I just wanted to be out there on the trails. I had absolutely no expectations whatsoever. I knew those trails were going to be just crazy. I've watched all the videos and I see it, and I'm coming off of an ankle roll at Western States, which I know is not even considered technical. And now that I've seen some of the European trails, I'm like, oh my gosh. For me, I don't know how else I can maybe develop these skills or even get this practice or time in beyond just like going out on the trails and learning where to put my feet and where to step and the trail vision. Like that comeback race, I've had injuries before in triathlon, and when you have an injury or a DNF or whatever happens during a race, like it affects you mentally so much. Like your confidence to race, your confidence that you are the athlete that you once were prior to that incident. Like it's all just, you doubt everything. And so for me to step on a start line and just have that starting point of just get to the finish line, we can build from there. So for me, OCC was almost like the start of building back towards going after another race event.
So last weekend I raced the Big Sugar Gravel race, which was about 105 miles gravel event in Bentonville, Arkansas. And Big Sugar was the final event of the Lifetime Grand Prix, which was a 7-race series I was part of this year. And I feel like I was progressing all season with the gravel racing. And for me, that means mostly being able to respond to the peloton tactics and attacks and having that kind of like snappy speed. And each race this year I've gotten a little more comfortable, I think, like in those different dynamics versus just being on a time trial bike alone, solo, my head down. So SBT this year, I ended up 6th place. I also went to the RAD, which was another gravel event in September. It's the 6th stop of the Lifetime Grand Prix, and got 7th there. I was kind of just seeing this progress that was really encouraging, and I was like pretty pumped on the gravel side of like, okay, I'm starting to see that like ability to change speed. So Big Sugar last weekend, I actually finally made the front group that broke away, and in the end I ended up getting a flat tire. The gravel in Bentonville is, anyone that knows it, it's super sharp rocks. I think so many people got flat tires. That's part of the race. You need to be able to get through it unscathed, and unfortunately I hit a massive rock, but it was almost like it didn't matter because I saw that glimpse of like I was able to stay with those front top girls.
Yeah, for the first lap, just lay out what's in each one, and I've already put in. So I'll run the first lap and then probably pull on a tank instead of a T. Paul and Robbie are back. They were the first two last year at my first trail race, and then they were there again at Black Canyons in February, and then again in June at Western States. So to have the same people back that just get to know you more and more in like how you race and your different mindsets, and being able to read like how you're actually feeling when you come through.
Do your circle.
Come in.
Grab the new ones that we've already had filled.
Just cool to have not only such a good crew for the actual racing part of it, but just friends that have now become really good friends. And each one of these experiences has made those friendships even more. Honestly, the day after Western States and not finishing there, I knew I needed to do whatever I could to try to get back there next year. And so the easiest way are the golden ticket races. So I'm seeing Javelina as this opportunity to maybe make up for those disappointments earlier in the year, maybe have that day I didn't have. I don't know if you can ever feel ready for one of these. I'm not sure. I mean, I guess I've been in kind of a, I would say, much more relaxed headspace coming in to this year, and I don't know if that's good or bad. I certainly keep getting moments of being nervous, but I also, I know what's ahead, and it almost feels more methodical this year of okay, I have hours and hours tomorrow to put this together. So it isn't about any one moment, the first mile out of the gates, or it's a long day, and it's more about trying to really just execute, and here are the things that are in your control that you can try to really execute and take care of, and here's plan B if that doesn't happen the way you foresee it, but you have the best people around you helping to really try to make that plan A happen, and the gun will go off, and just I'm feeling like I know what's ahead and I know what I need to do, and it's just now about going out and doing it.
I mean, this is a very competitive field. It's, I would say, similarly competitive to last year. Heather has the experience now and knows, she doesn't want to feel like she did at the end of last year's race. And I think that that's going to help her dial that pace more appropriately, because she clearly has the speed to send it.
Yeah, I honestly did not know from the gun that I was leading. I was lined up next to Ragnar at the start, and the gun went, and everyone kind of is almost sprinting to get to that single track. So I thought that maybe she was up there. So I honestly was trying to run within myself that first lap, knowing what happened last year here.
So Heather's time is the 8th fastest from the current course, 15:42.18. She was 5th last year, so this race is getting faster.
It was all my feel, and I honestly felt like I was kind of keeping within myself. So it felt smooth, it felt relaxed, getting fuel in and hydration that whole first lap, knowing, there were so many more miles to come that day.
Oh, yes, that's good.
Bye. Leave your hands free for a sec. Drink some more.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, go!
Lap 2 got really hot and was honestly probably the hardest lap for me. It's still so early in the race, but when you have that heat bearing down, it kind of makes you doubt yourself. Why do I already feel not great? Mentally, it was this could be a long day. Did I go too hard in the first lap already? That was when it came back to me of shoot, maybe I messed up again. But it did wake me up to really needing to implement cooling strategies, which maybe I hadn't forgotten, but it wasn't. We had gone over so many other tidbits about the race and things that I really wanted to nail, the nutrition, the plan of pacing, that it was okay, of course, stay cool out there. It's going to get hot. We're in the desert. But maybe that hadn't been front of mind. And lap 2 made it very clear, okay, you need to get your fuel every aid station, but you also need to get ice in the shirt, water on the back, cool off, ice in the hat, and really make that as important as also the fueling and hydration. So I still didn't know exactly where I was. I think I realized, I knew by that point that I was in the lead because I'd heard people cheering and yelling that, somewhere in there, the first or second lap. And so I knew that there hadn't been a female up in that front group. But I still didn't know the gap behind me, if it was a couple minutes, if it was 5 minutes. I still had no idea of how the race was unfolding. And I knew that I had only completed 2 laps. So third lap, okay, race is starting to get going, but really, I mean, the 4th and 5th lap is where in my mind it was like, okay, race starts now, versus last year it was opposite. So for me, I had told Devon and I told the crew, I don't want to know the info before lap 4. And in my mind out there, I was actually just pretending that someone was like right behind me coming. Like, okay, just pretend that we're in a super close race, completely oblivious to what was actually going on.
The socks are fine. They got a little wet.
Okay.
You want to change it?
This way?
Yeah.
Just take the time you need.
Okay.
You want some? You said you want chips.
Just something salty.
I died or not?
I'll go down.
Where's that sunscreen?
Bottles?
I got you.
Okay. Thank you guys.
I love you. Go get him.
Get ahead.
When I left after the second lap to go out on the third lap, in my mind, I was pretending that was, you just have 1 lap left, because I knew I was getting Devon the next lap. And so all I needed to do was get through lap 3 in a like smooth, consistent state, just keep moving solidly. And then you basically get to go for like a Sunday long run with a friend. So lap 3 for me was, okay, just do what you can here and then let the race begin on laps 4 and 5. I was worrying about what had happened last year most of the day, because it was just there's so many peaks and valleys the whole time. You're like, this is great, I feel good, like my quads don't feel smashed this year, I can run the downhill. That was my biggest kind of excitement out there. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can actually run still, I'm not just in pain every step. But then in an instant, like maybe your stomach goes a little off, which happened to me a couple times out there. I had to use the porta potties a couple times. I was like, oh no, like, are you gonna be able to keep getting stuff down? And so, yeah, just that whole idea that anything can happen. There's so much left, so much time left, so many miles left. I mean, it's literally a roller coaster the whole day.
Thank you.
Nice bandana?
Okay.
Way to go.
one.
Okay.
I'll do the hat.
You fresh house? It's got ice in it.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
Do you want to check
Do I
this?
am I gonna? Do I need to like push right now?
No.
Just listen to
Okay, don't give me the info about this.
Yes, you're fine.
Okay.
Like, take this bag. Where the gels? Who's got the gels?
Joe.
Just give me these, and then when you're ready,
Do you have any Stevie updates?
Yes, she said she does. She sent me a picture.
you got your bottles.
Walk.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
More pizza.
Come on, Heather! Yeah, girl!
You guys.
Got it.
Yeah, the first few miles with Devon pacing were definitely interesting because she was asking all the right questions, like, how are you feeling? Keep hydrating, keep drinking. She's like, do you want me to tell you stories or talk? And I was like, you can. I can't. I have no extra energy to respond, but I'm good just back here.
From the very start, I was like, I think this is going to be the quietest pacing job I've ever done. I even said to her, I was like, I will tell everybody we're coming by. Like, I will be that when they say great job, I'll say thank you. Like, you don't waste your energy. And like, she was in it.
I let a little bit of space so that I could still see the trail, but all I could see in my field of vision were her feet. And I was literally just staring at her feet. And we kind of settled into a great rhythm where it was just, all I had to do was stare at her feet. And I was actually pretending I was on the bike. And I'm like, don't lose her wheel, don't lose her wheel. Just stay with her. And in all the gravel racing, like, you have to respond to moves or attacks. And so I was just doing the same thing with her in terms of like, speed would change if we were going up a hill or down a hill, or if it was rockier parts of the course, and it would be like, just don't lose the wheel.
One person on the crew told me that we were 18 minutes ahead. And then Paul said we were only 9 minutes ahead. And so in my mind, I'm like, I'm going to go with 9 and push her accordingly, because I need to push as if somebody was like a mile behind us or something. I would kind of get a sense when she was hurting more, because she'd be like, is somebody coming? And I'm like, especially after we got to Jackass, which is like really like mostly downhill, and like we were running fast. So we would like in the second half of each loop, we took like 30 seconds per mile off our overall. And so I'm like, if somebody's coming, they have to be running like 7-minute pace, and no woman has been running 7-minute pace all day. Like, you're the probably only person who ran any 7-minute pace anything. So she was aware of that, but like, I just tried to be like, I think we're fine. I think we're good. We're running amazing. And that was just always my response. Like, you're running so strong. Like, we don't worry about that.
Frozen greens. It's fantastic. It's fantastic.
Go down first. Go down. Yeah, go.
Thank you.
All the way? Or no, just top. Yeah, go.
You good?
Green sheet goats. Soft and backwards.
Okay.
Vaseline and
Shoe change. You want Vaseline?
yes.
Vaseline on her feet. Got it. You change your top? No top change?
Nope.
Okay.
Hat change.
Paul's got your feet. Here I go.
Just exactly what I just said, same way on the way back. Yep, you get that?
Let's go!
He looks good.
We left the crew area to head out on the last lap. And she's like, we're just going to get through this. All we got to do is just keep moving. Whatever the pace is, we're just going to enjoy it. Just take in every second of this and enjoy this last lap. You get to enjoy this now.
Heather Jackson, a new fan favorite in the sport, coming back after a 5th place finish here last year, leading wire to wire here today in courageous fashion. She's going to be finishing 6th place overall here, the 2nd fastest in race history. Golden ticket back to Western States. She's going to go back. She's going to take the lessons learned. She is still, even though she is a seasoned veteran and has the fitness of a seasoned veteran, she's still learning the trail and ultra running sport. And so I imagine her ascension here is going to continue. Glorious redemption run here at the Javelina 100, taking a less than stellar day last year, learning lessons, coming back, and Dylan, she's about a quarter mile away from being the 2023 Javelina 100 champion. Here she comes right behind us here in the booth. You can hear the cheers. Oh, you love to see it.
Also have a returning runner. This was her first 100, I believe, last year. And now this year she came back and absolutely crushed with a golden ticket and a time of 14:24:47. Give it up for your women's champion, Heather Jackson.
The golden ticket is, I mean, ever since June, it's been this kind of just cloud almost of like, you put so much time and effort towards that race to have it go how it did. And that just kind of sat with me for a while. It's not a given that you get a start at Western States and can have the opportunity to remedy that kind of dark cloud that's kind of hanging over it for me of disappointment and frustration. And now I have that chance to be back on the start line.